Story 1. Yes, because if I asked the opposite gender version of me to make some dumplings for us right now, she totally would. She would also bring flowers home for me. She would be an absolute sweetheart and defend me to the death, as she would anyone she dated. Story 2. No, because I need a partner who is strong in the areas where I am weak. If we both have the same weaknesses, it is much harder to help each other. Story 3. Good God, no. And neither should anyone else if they know what is good for them. I am fantastic in every way, mind you. It is just my female version that would be insufferably arrogant. Story 4. No, because they would be a man and I am not into men. But I wouldn't date a same-sex version of me either, as I am a chatterbox. In my opinion, my girlfriend, who is quieter than me, is a much better fit for me than someone like me would ever be. I have experienced this with the other chatterboxes in my family. Sometimes I feel like I have to compete with them to get my talking time. If I am not quick enough to start talking during a pause, I will not get to say what I want before the conversation moves somewhere entirely different. That has left me feeling extremely frustrated and left out of conversations. Story 5. Oh yes, I would be an absolute beauty as a girl, not to mention smart, interesting, and good at almost everything 100%. Story 6. I would give it a shot just to see what would happen, but I think eventually we would go our separate ways. Story 7. In many ways, my partner is similar, same outlook, same humor, same way of looking at the world. We are both introverts, but there are enough meaningful differences. Overall, I wouldn't say we are the same. Story 8. I am looking for someone with more drive and purpose, not someone who spends Sunday afternoon browsing Reddit and making bad jokes. Story 9. Hell yes. But to be honest, at this point I would date anyone. I would probably date myself. I am flaky but smart, probably very cute, interesting conversation, capable, enjoy most of the same things as myself. Eventually, though, we would remember we do not like being around other people that much. Story 10. I dated someone of the opposite gender, an opinionated Taurus who was pampered and egotistical. Wait a minute, that's why it didn't work. Story 11. I essentially did once. It was awful. We just kept perpetuating our worst traits in this toxic downward spiral. Story 12. Yes, for a different perspective on how my behavior and communication come across and what I could work on to be a better partner. Story 13. This is a great question. I am looking for a male version of myself, but am seriously unable to find one in this big world. I am loving, sensible, thoughtful, independent, hardworking, and ambitious. You can also call me intelligent, as I cleared India's toughest exam at just 16 years of age. I am bold, know how to stand up for myself, and can fight for what I believe in. I am curious, energetic, friendly, calm, humble, and non-egoistic towards similar kinds of people. Those who try to outsmart me see another side of me. I laugh a lot and get angry sometimes. I love deeply and can be dominant depending on the situation. I am carefree and like to make my own decisions. I do not like being restricted. I have good ethics and know how to get along with people, although I do not talk much with them. There are many other traits as well, and I could make a long list. Having a partner with all these characteristics would be wonderful, though it seems impossible to find. Story 14. Oh my goodness, yes. I try to be for others the type of person that I want to be there for me, so it would be lovely, peaceful, and chaotically fun. We would also like the same things in bed. I would have a permanent concert buddy. We could be each other's body double for when we cannot get tasks done. Story 15. No, I am way too high maintenance. My random bursts of chaotic energy are too much, even for me. Story 16. No. We would never be able to decide what to eat. We would both be scared to set up doctor's appointments. We would be so clingy with each other that it would be hard to have outside friends. When we got into an argument, we would ghost each other, waiting for the other to apologize. It would honestly be the greatest, worst experience of my life. Story 17. Yes, because they would think the exact same way I do. No more arguing ever. We would always agree with each other. Paradise. Story 18. Then I would actually get to feel what it is like to be prioritized, chosen, validated, and loved unconditionally. Absolutely. Story 19, yes, probably. She would have all the same interests as me, which would be amazing, but ideally, I would like to date someone who has strengths where I have weaknesses. Like, we cannot both be the problem, you know? Story 20, 100%. I am great. I like myself a lot. Plus, I am a thoughtful and engaged partner. I am not jealous. I have hobbies. I communicate well. Solid yes. Story 21. I did for 4 years. It was good at first because we understood each other right away. However, we both had similar character flaws and were unable to compromise. Story 22. Yes. I have a male friend who is the exact male version of me. We share my rare personality type. We were born 4 days apart. Both of us have alcoholic parents. We share the same strengths and insecurities and have never disagreed on anything. We have the same interests and hobbies as well. He has said the kindest and most thoughtful things anyone has ever said to me. He has also said some unusual things that happen to be the exact same thoughts I was having. We met when we were both fresh out of relationships. He was interested in me, but I was still heartbroken from my breakup. Now he is in a relationship with a nice woman with whom he is reasonably compatible, which I respect because I am not a homewrecker. If he becomes available again, I am definitely open to dating him. Story 23. Absolutely not. I need someone who can keep it together. I am too frantic, and I do not think I could deal with that in another person. Story 24. Absolutely, that's exactly what I've been looking for. The women I attract are too extroverted and obsessed with social media. I want an introvert who is happy reading all day, cooking dinner with me, and watching movies. No more going out all the time. Story 25. I would marry that girl. We would share the same hobbies, movies, books, games, and activities. Literally my dream. Story 26. Date? Yes. Marry? No, not yet. For dating, I am generally a pretty agreeable person who just wants to make those around me happy. Dating someone like that might lead to some friction, but if we get past it, it would be fun. I am not financially stable enough for marriage yet. I know this, and I would not resent anyone concluding that about me and not being interested. It hurts, but it is just one more hurdle in life I need to overcome. Story 27. Some at university once found my female lookalike on Tinder and sent me a screenshot. I don't know if I could, but our children would be the most beautiful things to ever exist. Story 28. No, because I am fiery, so I need someone watery to balance me out. My partner is the perfect match for me. He is the calm and I am the storm. Sometimes he is too nice for his own good, and sometimes I am mischievous, so we bring each other to the center. Since being with him, I am calmer and more joyful, and he is setting boundaries as I encourage him to, including with me. He is my person, and not even I am allowed to take advantage. He is taking his lunch breaks at work now rather than letting people book meetings in the clearly marked lunch spots. He lets me do things for him now rather than just existing to do things for me. It is a wonderful partnership. If I were by myself, I would become like Bonnie and Clyde for sure. Not good. Story 29. Hell no. I do not understand people who date others like themselves. The best relationships do not mirror one another. They complement each other. Story 30. I am non-binary transmasculine. I would definitely date my current self, but I would not date the person presenting as my birth-assigned gender. Story 31. Oh, absolutely. It is hard to find someone with the same temperament, energy level, values, and sense of humor as me. Story 32. No, and it made me realize that I need to change some things about myself and work on becoming a better partner. Story 33. Oh yes. Literal dream scenario. No cheating, homebuddy, gamer, sports fan, gym enthusiast with a solid job and quick adaptability to most situations, and high libido with all the same preferences as a switch. The downside would be some social anxiety and a bit of clinginess in the beginning before becoming official, striving to impress and show interest, but nothing crippling or severe enough to impede going out or impact social interactions. Why not? I'm not someone who needs balancing with an opposite personality. I need a complementary enhancement. I'm already pretty flexible and carefree for most activities. I try and like practically everything and am at least willing to give it a shot. Sounds like a lot of fun times. Story 34. Possibly because I am one of the few guys who is weird, gender fluid, and feminist enough for my identity to connect with. Story 35. Hell yeah. I spend my whole life with myself, so I try to be the kind of person I want to be with. If I could find an actual partner as considerate, interesting, and affectionate as I am, I would be sitting pretty. Story 36. Then one of us has to be hardworking and hold down a stable job. Hence, it is not possible. Story 37. Knowing me and my possible body type as a woman, I would definitely date her. She would already know everything I like, and it would be so fulfilling without needing to ask. Story 38. No, because I know we will crash and never settle down. For a casual fling, maybe, but serious dating, no. Story 39. My girlfriend and I both say that one of the things we love about each other is that she puts up with my flaws and I put up with hers. To be fair, I love her qualities and her attitude. While she can be difficult at times, she knows me and understands how to work with that, and it is the same with her. Story 40. Sometimes I think that this would be perfect. Same tastes, same life goals, same mindsets, same views on what a perfect relationship looks like for us. But sometimes I meet people who make me want to become a better version of myself. These people usually possess qualities that I do not. So maybe dating a clone of myself would be comfortable but might lead to stagnation. I want to date someone who inspires me. Story 41. No, because I want someone to cover my weaknesses and I would like to be able to do the same for someone else to complement them. Story 42. It would be great to live together happily as nerdy goblins, rarely leaving the house. Any outings besides work or shopping will be carefully discussed and planned ahead of time. Story 43. No, I already give myself and my family severe panic over my poor health. I don't want to cause another person with similar health issues the same panic, which could worsen their condition. I would also worry about them, making myself more anxious and unwell. It's difficult to date someone with a chronic illness and have them also deal with their own chronic illness. This can lead to flare-ups when I have bad days and they react. I don't want that person to suffer. The stress of seeing someone struggle with a chronic illness without improvement is already hard on healthy individuals. It would be even worse for someone who is chronically ill. This does not even include the additional stress I impose on myself by trying to stand up and fight against the challenges in the country I live in. Story 44. Of course, I would be an awesome boyfriend, but it would also be really weird. Although you do not have to be too anxious about what they think because you already know. Yes, I would do it. Story 45. I probably would date someone who thinks like me and enjoys doing the same things. I am not even sure I would need the gender swapped. If they can equal or beat my cooking skills, that raises the answer to a solid yes, gender swapped or not. Story 46. Absolutely not. Two submissives just sitting awkwardly on either side of the bed waiting for the other to take the lead is frustrating. I do not like inflicting pain on others, but I am open to getting a bit roughed up. Story 47. Though we are not exact versions of each other, my wife of 31 years and I are strikingly similar regarding worldview, education, career path, and emotions. Story 48. I know she would have mental health issues, and I certainly would not want to date a female gamer. Story 49. I do not have to worry about them being an abusive partner, so absolutely yes. Also, I would know them extremely well. Story 50. No way in hell. I don't ever plan to date anyone if something happens to my husband. It was bad enough the first time, and back then there were no dating applications and I was a lot less unattractive. No way am I doing that again. Not having sex wouldn't be a big deal because I don't have much sex drive. We might live together as friends and roommates, though. It would be kind of nice to have an extra set of muscles to help with gardening. Story 51. I know a couple. I like them, but definitely not. Edit. I do not want to date a fellow introvert. I want people who are chatty, sociable, and enjoy talking because I can be very much a chatterbox. Story 52. Yes. I am far from a perfect person. In fact, I have a lot of idiosyncrasies. but I think I have my head screwed on straight and my life together very well. I am gainfully employed, independent, responsible, and I have a strong code of ethics. I also think I am pretty funny, if I may say so myself, and I am good at not taking things too seriously if they do not need to be. I would like a partner with similar traits. I do not think any of these things are high bars, but here we are. Story 53. No, because I am gay. I bet she would be hit a lot more than me and would tease me relentlessly because of it. Story 54. Personality-wise, absolutely yes. Looks-wise, yes, if you mean like for like. For example, I have a good body, so I have a good body as a man. Not as in I am skinny, therefore I would be skinny as a man. Features that work on women do not work on men, and my features on a man would be awful. Story 55. Funny you ask. I am still searching for a woman who can rebuild a knucklehead motor, has extensive knowledge of old-school punk rock, and is well-versed in 19th century anarchist theory. At this point, I would settle for someone who does not look at their phone every 10 seconds. Story 56. I read a short story about a male meeting with his female clone or vice versa. It was a pretty interesting read. Story 57. I'm not even kidding when I say I would be my perfect partner. Good listener. Fun, playful, empathetic, silly, and serious when needed. I would definitely date female me. Story 58. Yes, I would date myself regardless of gender. I guess I just like my personality and know I would not be a bad choice for me. Story 59. I would marry him so fast. My male version is just me with male body parts. He is funny, witty, and curious about everything. We would never be bored. We would go on adventures all the time. Hell yes. Story 60. Absolutely not. Too codependent, jealous, anxious, overthinkers dating each other is a recipe for disaster. Story 61. We would talk on the first date and conclude that it seems awfully narcissistic for someone with only enough self-respect not to berate themselves constantly to date themselves. We would relish how much we agree that we do not need this. We would agree never to do it again and live our lives wondering if it could have even worked. Story 62. Because I would have no interest in a 6'3" woman with a large nose, very hairy arms and legs, a prominent Adam's apple, and a deep voice. Not my preference. Story 63. Probably not. I am sometimes too hyperactive and overexcited. Two hyperactive people coming together seems like a disaster. I would prefer someone calmer. Story 64. Yes, because we will share the same values, beliefs, and feelings. I have no reason to suspect he will be hiding something that goes against my boundaries. Story 65. Yes, it has been my dream. I have dated someone who looked like the male version of me, but personality-wise they were completely different. Story 66. The only problem is that we are going to have sex, cook, discuss books and movies, and play board games together the whole time. We would not have time for any responsibilities. Story 67. She would have a strong desire for having her butt kicked. I would be lukewarm in giving it to satisfy her cravings. Story 68. Heteronormativity at its finest. Dude, if someone is gay. In any case, no. Two people with the exact same personality, interests, and all related things? So boring. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.